Welcome to a new edition of the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino. On this episode, we talk with book coach and award-winning publisher Nancy Erickson. This book professor coaches business professionals to become authors of high-impact nonfiction books that will establish them as experts in their fields, increase their credibility, help attract a following, and expand their business. When a book is finished, they can take each chapter and repurpose it to create other revenue-producing products that include seminars, workshops, online training, podcasts, and online courses. She is the owner of two book-related businesses, The Book Professor and Stonebrook Publishing, an award-winning nonfiction publishing house. In 2022, she was named a top 10 book coach in the United States by the Coach Federation. She has great stories, great insights. Enjoy this interview.
Thank you for taking a minute out. I appreciate it.
Oh, you bet. I'm excited.
Me too. So before we get into your life as a book coach and a publisher, I want to know how you got through the COVID period. You know, things are opening up. The last couple of years was quite a deal. How did you get through it? How is it changing the way that you live your life and approach business now?
Well, COVID didn't really change anything for us because my team was already distributed throughout the country, and we always did our meetings over Zoom and such because my clients are international, so I've been using Zoom for years and years before other people discovered it, so it actually didn't change much at all.
So let's get to the essence of what you do, and you kind of just touched on it a little bit. If I put you in front of a bunch of third graders at a career day, and one of the kids looks up and says, "What do you do for a living?" how would you answer them?
I would say that I help people who aren't writers to become authors of high-impact nonfiction books.
So when you were in the third grade, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a writer, if you could believe that. But I didn't. When I got out of college, I did engineering, so it took me a long way to find my way back home.
Well, you're obviously happy with how everything turned out. I mean, you're living the dream you wanted to be.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. So what was, being a writer, what was the book for you early on in your life that really opened the doors to you to either love reading or want to write?
Well, I loved Nancy Drew mysteries. I think I had an affinity with her because her name was Nancy as well. But she was off on all these adventures and was really brave and was doing stuff that I would never dare to do. So I liked following all her adventures and her different mysteries and ways of solving them.
Talk to me a little bit about your childhood, where you were born and raised, and kind of how these seeds of wanting to be a writer and loving books, how did all that begin and become who you are today?
Yeah, well, interestingly, my father was not in the military, but we moved every 9 months to 3 years when I was growing up. So I was bouncing around a lot, starting new schools almost every year. And it was always more comfortable for me to stay at home with a book than it was to just keep trying over and over again to get entrenched in a social circle. So that was really my refuge, I guess would say. I, took my imagination in a lot of different places, and I was exposed to a lot of really good writing. And I was fortunate because as a child, the librarians always seemed to know that I was really a reader and would recommend books for me. And, I would be exposed to, Hemingway in the 5th grade. And I had this one school librarian who said, now I think it was a trick, but she said, "We're thinking about adding these books to our library. Would you read them first and give me your opinion?" And of course I felt flattered and honored. And now when I look back, it was like Hemingway's book, like The Old Man and the Sea and stuff like that. She knew it was probably already in the library, but I think she was just directing me toward some really good literature. And of course, really good writers are really well read, and they've been exposed to a lot of different writing styles. And so I think that really planted a seed early on.
So in your life, who has motivated you? Who would you consider a role model or a hero for you?
Oh, gosh, I have kind of trouble with that. I don't know. I just don't know that I really have had role models. I do want to say one thing, though, is about my father. He had always wanted boys. and he got girls. There's just two of us. But I remember when I was graduating from college, he said to me, and this was, a while back, it was in the 80s, and he said, don't let the fact that you're a woman hold you back. It'll only hold you back if you let it hold you back. And so I really appreciated that. So I ended up going and my early career was in high tech, and I worked for IBM and Oracle corporations. But that, he kind of gave me a lot of confidence that I could do whatever I wanted to do. So that when I made the shift, I was really confident that, now I want to do this. Now I want to do something else, and I could step into a whole new realm that I enjoyed for a new time in my life.
If you can meet anybody alive on the planet right now, who would it be? Who would you love to meet and talk to?
A person alive who I would like to meet is probably, Paul McCartney. I've been a big fan of his. I really admire him, and I'll tell you why. Because he's been around for 50 or 60 years in our collective consciousness, and he's always been an honorable person. And so I really admire the way that he's lived his life, and he doesn't go into the weird extremes that celebrities often do. And I like his music too. I think he's a great guy.
That's a great person. Yeah, Paul would be a great one to meet. So let me ask you this. If you have a dream tonight, you run into the younger version of yourself, and you could give that version of you a piece of advice based on the life that you've lived, the wisdom that you've gained, what would you tell your young version?
Chill out. It's like everything was so extreme when you're young. It's like everything is like life and death. And, over the years, I've learned to manage my emotions, and usually just kind of not considering anything too drastic is probably a good approach. I think I was plagued with a lot of anxiety as a young person because of the moving around a lot. You're always trying to find your place. And so, later you kind of realize that your place is inside yourself. And I just wish that I had been a lot calmer and less anxiety-ridden as a younger person.
So what's been one of the best responses that you've ever gotten back from somebody about your writing, something that just kind of blew you away?
Well, there's a couple of things. When I taught writing at a university here in St. Louis for a long time, and years later I got an email from a student who thanked me for my instruction because he said it changed everything about the way he not only wrote things but perceived things as he was reading. So I like that a lot. But we coach, lots of authors who are writing their books, and they also always have a purpose for their book. And what I love is when I see these authors soaring in their committed area. For example, one of our authors we recently released a book wrote about the struggle she had with her husband who came down with early onset Alzheimer's at a young age. Anyway, very long story short, it turned out to be that the root of that was Lyme disease. And so now she's become this big advocate for Lyme disease organization. She's been on the Today Show. She's really using her voice, and that launch pad for that was the book that we worked on together. So I find that really gratifying.
So everyone out there has a perception of you, an idea of who they think you are, your family, your friends, your readers, but ultimately you're in control of your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Well, I don't think I'm as great as I used to think I am, and I don't think I'm as lowly as I used to think either. I think the idea of who you are it changes over time. So I really feel my perception is that I'm a person who tries to help others amplify their voice. And, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, all those things too. But my goal in life has changed a lot. It's more about maintaining healthy relationships. And I do that, throughout with not family and friends only, but just with my clients and all, and really to help them amplify their voice and get their message out to the world.
So are you located in St. Louis?
I am.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, I'm up here in Lee Summit in Kansas City.
Oh, wow. Like, yeah, we're practically neighbors.
Yeah, right. And especially in this community, it seems like everybody's kind of in different parts of the world. So, yeah, we're right up here. And I think there's a lot of nail biting for what's going to happen this weekend with the football. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, no kidding. I'm biting my nails, too, because I'm a big Kansas City fan.
Okay. Well, that's good. We just got to get over the whole Cincinnati thing, and I don't know how that's gonna happen. But
time will tell.
We'll see. That's right. It certainly will. Nancy, this has been great. Thank you for opening up. Thanks for taking time out. Before we get off here, I want to make sure that everyone out there can navigate and find you, your books, anything related to your world. Where do they go?
They should go to my website. It's thebookprofessor.com. And if anybody might even be interested in exploring the idea of writing a book, there's a link at the top that just says schedule a call with Nancy, and we could just chat about book ideas.
Perfect. Nancy, hey, thank you again. I really appreciate it. Good luck with everything. Have a great 2023.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another famous interview with Joe Dimino, where we cover the world of art, literature, business, spirituality, and music from around the globe. If you want to hear more interviews, visit the Famous Interviews with Joe Dimino channel on YouTube. You can also find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thanks again for listening, and until next time.